Hello everyone, this is Flammy. Welcome back. We're here with another subscriber base review. My time where I review your guys' bases. Today we are doing Town Hall 7. So here we are with the first one, Mortas. And let's look at the base. Let's talk about everything about it. Alright, first off, what I like a lot actually is the fact that you've only got a couple storages. You've got 1, 2, 3 gold storages and 1, 2 elixir storages. So, 1, you didn't overcreate them, which is good, because it's easier to protect less. And 2, it's good that they're spread out a bit, so that lightnings can't attack them, and they're also not grouped up, so you can't attack just one side of the base to take out 2 or even more storages at the same time. Dark Slicker's storage is very empty, but also, once again, like, see, these are sort of spread out a little bit, so if you lightning the Wizard Tower, you would sort of hit these, but not enough to make it cost-effective whatsoever. If all 4 were next to one another, or just with walls separating them, yeah, that could be a problem. Got your town hall outside the walls. You're down at 1,300 trophies, so you're clearly intentionally low, trying to get your resources up. I wonder, what are you currently working on? So you got a builder down here with an air defense. You've got a Tesla up here, and an archer tower over here. Alright, so good stuff. Your defenses clearly are pretty maxed out, so all these cannons and archer towers are maxed. You're working on, looks like, the last archer tower to get up here. Air defense is going up to 6, that is very high. Interesting that you decided to upgrade this one to 6 before you did this one to 4. I would generally say do the lower level ones first, although in terms of air defense, it really doesn't matter. But in terms of, say, like, okay, you have a new archer tower or something because you just unlocked a new town hall level. For example, this is like hypothetical. Would you rather get the new one up first or upgrade an existing one to level max 10 in this case? I'd say probably get the lowest level one up first because it's faster to complete and actually burns through gold faster if you are able to keep the upgrades rolling. Also, the benefit is you can keep a worker that will keep being freed up, so you can send it off to get rid of like decorations and upgrade walls with your spare gold. Speaking of walls, do a pretty good job here with walls. You do have... yeah, some of these compartments are getting a little sort of crowded in the middle here. Although you got so many on the outside, I'm not sure that's super of concern. That's in terms of like wall breaker defense right there. These single compartments will do a really good job of slowing down the wall breakers, and your walls are nicely upgraded. So I do like the layout. One benefit is that in relatively few situations do wall breakers actually hit more than 2 compartments. So, like, if wall breakers came in and attacked this wall, they'd actually attack this wall right behind it as well. So, ideally, those would not be quite connected just that way. Like, if the cannon was out one more, a wall breaker attacking the corner of it would not attack the corner of the Tesla as well. Just something to be aware of. I probably wouldn't say it's really, like, worth redesigning, especially when you're down at this trophy count, but perhaps if you go higher in the trophy counts, to be of more concern. But in that case, you'd probably redesign it anyways, because you wouldn't want your town hall outside the walls. Keeping your barracks on one side is fine. It makes it easier to train up your troops. Let's look at your army composition. Not very full right now. Looks like you're using a raiding composition, so a lot of infantry with some giants and wall breakers, and lots of goblins. So, hard to say exactly what your final army is, but it looks like it's pretty heavy on the infantry, which is actually what I'm currently using as well. So, I like that. I mean, armies, it's not like there's one right army, so that's fine either way. Let's last check your clan castle, and you have a dragon. Interesting choice. Let's see, with dragons especially, you're going to want to make sure you don't have any extra buildings outside, so that's good, so you don't. So if you had like builders' huts or army camps in the corners of your base, for example, that would be bad, because it'd be easier to draw off a P.E.K.K.A. or a dragon that was in your clan castle. Instead, if you don't have them on the corners, the units they deploy are forced to come in towards the center and take fire from other buildings as well. Basically, the point is, say with some of your first guys that you attack, someone who's attacking your base, they activated this dragon right here. Well, if they realize there's a dragon, they've only deployed 20 guys, they'll probably just let those guys die. Dragon's still flapping around in midair, waiting for your next guys to deploy. Say if you had a builder's hut down here in the corner, they just put one archer down there. The dragon that's sitting here will fly on out, and then they can surround it with archers and avoid the splash damage. Dragon is definitely pretty good. Great against infantry, which is definitely what you're going to be experiencing more of at this level. As well as giants. Anything that groups up really and has high numbers of them, because dragons do splash damage. Level 3 as well, so that certainly helps. And some level 5 archers to help out. Pretty good overall, pretty good. I like what you're doing here. In terms of suggestions, I don't really think there's anything critical here that's wrong. I would just keep upgrading your stuff, and it looks like you're getting pretty close to Town Hall 9, so congratulations, and good luck. On to the next base, guys. Alright, here we are with David for our next Town Hall 8 base, and he does have a comment. He says, somewhat new to Town Hall 8, working on Wizard Towers next, made up this base design myself, seems to work well. Any tips? Alright, well, let's look at that. Any tips? So, working on Wizard Towers next, so you max out your mortars first. I like that, I'd like to see that. Let's see. Do you have any, like, lower level things? So, you're working on this one air defense still, which is a new Town Hall 8 addition. It looks like you're getting all your other defenses up. So yeah, your Archer Tower got up to 7. So yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. You've got your that stuff up first, as well as your mortars right away. So that's exactly pretty much what I was talking about before. Get your new things up first, and now that they are, you're working on your what you consider the most important defenses. And mortars, I definitely consider the most important. Now you did get 3 up, so that's good. I would recommend generally not upgrading them all at once. I don't know if you did or didn't. It's hard to say for sure. Actually, it's impossible to say for sure. But if I knew, for example, you only went up like a week ago, I'd say you probably would have to have. I would generally only recommend doing 1, maybe 2 mortars at once, especially if you have a high number of resources. If you have low number of resources, who cares? You do have a very high trophy count, so you do have a very trophy-focused base with the Town Hall in the middle. So definitely a change up from our last one there. Let's check the clan castle. I like to see that it's centralized as well. Level 6 and level 5 archers. Not full though, so I want to make sure that's full. I did just collect these submissions, so for example, David here submitted this reply 13 minutes ago on my Facebook. I will provide info for how to apply at the end, so stay tuned for that. Beyond that, pretty good. Let's check your resources. I would expect you're doing a pretty good job spending it, because yeah, 400,000 is not a ton, but not nothing either. Dark Elixir, not bad either, but not much. Just actually sort of middle of the line with all these. Not empty, but not full for all your storages, which is somewhat to be expected when you're up at nearly 2,000 trophies. Resources are getting much more competitive up there, which is why people intentionally lower their trophies. So, yeah, definitely keep spending them as you can. Looks like you're doing a good job. In terms of using your workers to upgrade mines like this, I'm not sure your exact situation, but considering that you have 3 workers upgrading mines, I would say generally avoid upgrading mines unless you don't have the resources to do other upgrades instead. For example, if you think you could easily, or with a little bit of work, afford to upgrade this level 7 Archer Tower, I would probably rather prioritize that over all of the mines. For example, I only recommend doing mines and elixir collectors when you basically just have workers that you need to keep busy. The upgrades are cheap, they are long, although they recently got a debuff, so a little bit faster now. And basically, there's just a way to tie up workers for cheap. If you have anything better to work on, defenses, do that first. But beyond that, yeah, looks pretty good. In terms of layout in general, you said you did design this yourself, so you do have a fairly wallbreaker-oriented base. You got some compartments here. You do sort of like a triple layer, so you got your first layer of walls out here, with mostly single defenses in them. These are doubles up here, and a triple on the top. And then you have another layer, so single, single, triple, triple, double, triple. Alright, so there's some balancing right here that I would do. It's pretty easy, so take a look at this, David. So, say for example, you took these 2, and moved at least 1 to work with the air defense on the right side. I don't think air defenses will be too critical for you, so you can probably put them in a compartment with another one. Putting it in its own compartment makes it slightly more protected, but if you want to protect your resources slightly more, your wizard tower would be able to cover this dark elixir just as well if it was just 1 unit to the bottom right. So instead of being centered here, centered, say, right here. Then you just move this wall to the other side, and I think that could be a good change like that. Basically, you're evening out the size of your compartments around the side here. You could do similar things with this right here, and that would have the benefit of getting this elixir storage slightly more in range of this wizard tower that I've selected right here. You can see the circle, and if any units attack from the bottom left, this wizard tower would not be able to help out, but if you move to the right a little bit, like it could hit goblins, for example. Air defense, no need to keep it inside while you're upgrading. I'd just probably swap it out with a cannon. Just real easy, because it really provides no benefit whatsoever. So yeah, I would just swap that out real fast. You have Teslas in pretty obvious spots. It's fine that they're obvious. There's no really better place to put them. Traps. I didn't really talk. I haven't talked about traps in a while. Let's talk about good places to put traps. So I would say a good place to put bombs would be right here. 1 bomb, 1 bomb, or maybe even 2 in each of those spots. Maybe in between here, but this would be better actually. You basically want to put them between 2 places where units are going to go, so goblins would go between those 2. But at the same time, you don't want the units running past them and keep running into the distance the bomb explodes behind them. So putting them in between here, on this spot right here, or this spot right here, means that the goblins run over it and then stop at the gold mine or the elixir collector that's just on the other side. As opposed to if you put them right here, for example, if they hit the elixir collector and kept running, they'd go to the gold mine, but then they'd be out of range of the bomb. So yes, just something to be aware of. In terms of spring traps, it's a bit harder. I would say there's not really any great spots. I'd say perhaps the best would be like right in here, maybe right here, maybe right here. Trying to hit wall breakers that are coming in, hit giants that are coming in. No real great spots for them, like I said, but possibilities right there. Possibilities. Other than that, I think that's going to wrap it up for this base. Looks pretty good. I like this design. A couple things, just tweak those inner walls, perhaps, to make them a little bit better. But you know what? I mean, that's really like 1% detail improvements. That's like, it makes your base like 1% stronger, in my estimation. So it's not super critical. The main reason I would recommend doing them just because they're easy. You only need to just swap 6 little things, or even no, 4 little things for each one of these things. 1 building and 3 walls. It's that easy. That's the only reason I'd recommend doing it. Beyond that, there's no real like major problems with this base. I like it. One thing I will say you do really well is, I mentioned this was sort of a problem on the last base. So the Mortas' base. So when wall breakers come in, if a wall breaker targets this section, they won't target this or this. So that's really good. If it targets this, well, that's a bad example. If it targets this, same thing. If it targets this right here, it won't hit this or this over here. If it targets right here, it won't hit any others. Same thing with all these. They're all basically their T's. You can look at my last my last base build videos, so where I talked about this sort of principle in detail. So perhaps you got the idea from there, perhaps you came up with it on your own, but either way, perhaps it's accidental, but I think it was pretty intentional because you do a really good job of it, basically making sure wall breakers are not very effective against your base. Alright, that's going to wrap it up with David's base. Let's head on to the next one, guys. Alright, here we are with Rad's base. Another Town Hall 8 indeed. So, you do have a comment right here. You have, any idea how I can better protect my outside buildings? Well, that's always a troublesome one, because at the same time you can't really protect them all, and if you try to, it means spreading out your defenses more. So it's really a balance. You do a good job here of protecting your defenses mostly. You're focusing on protecting the storages, as well as protecting the other defenses. For example, if you wanted to protect more buildings, you easily could by expanding the walls, not having quite so many walls in the middle here, having much larger compartments, and by putting like elixir collectors and whatever you wanted to protect at the moment, putting them within the walls. The downside of this, however, would be your defenses would spread out a lot more, and you wouldn't have as many compartments, so it would weaken your base overall in terms of how risky it is to get 3-starred. Currently, it's easier to 1-star you. I think this is pretty obvious because you're asking how can I better protect my outside buildings. So you're probably worried about 1-stars here. I would say that it's better to get 1-starred than 3-starred. You do get 1-starred more often, but when you get 3-starred, generally the number of resources you're going to lose from the storages are going to more than make it not worth having that sort of more spread out defense to protect everything. It might seem sort of contradictory that certain bases are easier to 3-star when harder to 1-star, and then easier to 1-star, harder to 3-star, but everything's a trade-off in this game, so you can either focus on protecting your defenses, which makes it harder to 3-star, or focus on protecting everything, which makes it harder to 1-star. It's basically just the way it goes. Alright, in terms of what I'd really recommend though, I would say where you're at currently in the game is you're down at nearly 1,400 trophies. I would say you shouldn't be worrying about 1-stars. In fact, I would say you should even move your town hall outside the walls. Perhaps, oh, your Barbarian King just finished healing. Maybe your clan has a rule against it or something about like keeping your town hall outside the walls. I've seen a couple clans that do that, but that's sort of unusual. So I would generally say just keep your town hall outside the walls because it's really going to help you. And that seems contradictory because, I mean, once again, you get 1-starred when your town hall is outside the walls, right? Yes, but that 1-star takes 1,000 gold, 1,000 elixir, and leaves you with a 12-hour shield. That's a very inexpensive shield. They do take some trophies, but when you're down at 1,400 trophies, that really doesn't matter either. So I would definitely recommend putting your town hall outside the walls. Maybe you're intending to go up, then that's valid. Keep it inside, that's fine. But just if you're planning on staying here, I would definitely move it outside, and sort of do a bit of a redesign to compensate for that. Now, in terms of that redesign, I would definitely recommend putting this clan castle in the center of your base. I would highly recommend not using giants. The problem with giants is there's only a few of them, and the main value of units is they are distractions. Yes, clan castle units will kill the enemy, but the main value is distracting them from the defenses and other buildings. So not only do giants have less damage per supply, because they really do, compared to, like, one giant is equal to, like, 2 barbarians, and you can fit a whole lot more barbarians. So there's that, as well as, I guess I'll pull up the clan castle again. As well as, when your units are distracting, you want to have more units rather than a few heavy with lots of health. When you have a few with lots of health, what it does is it causes the enemy units to group up on them and shoot them down real fast, when there's actually a short delay when they're switching targets from one unit to the next. And they'll also overshoot arrows. So say 20 archers shoot at a giant. It kills it, right? Say 20 archers shoot at one archer that's from your clan castle. They also kill it, right? Well, the thing is, you've got 19 more archers coming out of your clan castle, and you've only got 3 more giants coming out of your clan castle, which I think makes it pretty obvious that it's better to have lots of little guys than a couple more powerful guys. And in terms of power, these guys only have the health and don't even have the damage. So I would recommend doing all archers, or a bit of archer, or like majority archers and a couple barbarians. That's also a good composition. Or alternatively, you can go with the heavy-hitting units, which are sometimes harder to get depending on how your clan works. So, dragons are good. A single balloon can be good. Don't see that much these days, but they do splash damage as well. They are unfortunately slow. But then there's some other fun things you can do, like mixed up with like Valkyries or something. I generally wouldn't recommend having more than one, but you can always fall back on the good old bread and butter all archer. If you have any question of what's the best, just go with all archer. The other ones are better in slight variances, but you don't really know what exactly what's going to attack your base, so just generally all archer works. But those other things are options as well. So like I said, yes, I would move that towards the center, so that makes it harder for the enemies to draw it out. For example, right now, what do I mean by that? If someone wanted to check for your clan castle guys, I'd put one archer right here. It would attack this wizard tower, it'd be out of range of all these guys, and it would draw out all these giants, because you can see the circle is, they're well within the circle, and archer placed right here. And just like that, it would draw out your archers, and you could slaughter them without being in range of the defenses, and then proceed with the attack. So which just basically means your clan castle guys are slight distraction, but not actually really helping that much. By putting it in the center, they can't activate them and draw them out. Alright, I talked a lot about that right there. Going back to sort of your initial question, is there anything you can really do to protect these outside buildings more? It depends what your goal is. If you're concerned about 1 stars most of all, you should protect lots of little guys rather than big guys. So I would put these 2 and this 3rd building all right here. Just being right there makes them closer to the defense and hard to pick off. It would mean that this army camp is farther away. It would probably go right here instead. But it does make it harder to 1 star. You sort of do that with your other 2 army camps at the top and the bottom. They're farther away. They're only being protected by 1 defense. In exchange, you're protecting these other little guys more. I'd do the same thing on this one. Put in some gold mines, slightly more protected in here. Beyond that, I will say there's one thing that I really do like that I can see that you're doing. That is, right here, you have a spring trap, or I certainly hope you do. If you don't, you definitely should put one there, but I expect you do. I can't see it because I'm not in your clan, but that's a great spot for a spring trap. It means that any giants that attack this archer tower or this air defense will then walk over the spring trap, and hopefully all 15 supply of them will die, which is the maximum kill potential of a spring trap. So that's good right there. Now, some people might think that in this situation, wall breakers would be walls would be better to split this compartment up, so wall breakers have a harder time getting in. And yes, that's true, slightly. It would help, I mean, I'll grant you that. But you do have a lot of other compartments, so I would say that's not really that necessary. And at the same time, if you do manage to get a good spring trap hit, that really counts for a lot. That's a really good, important hit right there. Beyond that, Teslas are right here and here. I'm not sure where your third one is. Maybe it just finished construction outside your walls. You could do bombs in here with the storages. That would be fine. I wouldn't do giant bombs in here. Giant bombs are generally a waste of money. Not always, but generally. I would want to say is like, don't bother putting your torches right here. Just move your barracks slightly closer. That's just one thing I noticed on both these sides. That's about it, though. Hope some of those tips help. I hope I answered your question as well. So, thank you very much for submitting your base. Overall, pretty good job. I hope you take some of those things into consideration for the trophy counts, the town hall considerations, the clan castle stuff. I think that's some good tips that everyone can learn from, though. So, thank you very much for submitting your base once again. Let's head on to the fourth and final Town Hall 8 base. Alright, here we are with our fourth and final Town Hall 8 base for this video. Let's see here. So, you do have a comment. You're looking for rearrangement advice. So, I assume that means defenses. But you know what? I can also talk about other stuff as well. So, oops, didn't mean to bring that up. Let's start with all these other things. So, first of all, I would recommend moving all these buildings out here on the outside closer to your walls. Yeah, that's really going to help out your defenses by just making sure all these buildings are as close to the defenses as possible. It will only slow down the enemy once they're within range. For example, right now, enemies can spawn in here, but you know what's even more important is it's slowing them down once they're within range. So put this next to this, and this in here, this in here, this in here, etc., etc., etc. Just tight it against the walls as possible. You want people to only slow down once they're like attacking the defenses or attacking these buildings and within range of the defenses. Maybe you're trying to do some tricky stuff by encouraging people to spawn here into the mortar. Perhaps it's unusual. I've tried doing some tricky stuff like that in the past. Sometimes it works, sometimes it backfires on you, so it's sort of hard to say. If it's intentional, I would say that's all right, but just be aware that it does weaken your base for sure. In terms of building layout or rearranging. So, mortars are centralized, that's good. You're upgrading one. You could throw that outside the walls if you wanted and promote temporarily something else in this place. I would not have gold mines in here. No, would not have elixir collectors, gold mines in here at all. I'd move those out for sure. Your walls are sort of unusual. You're clearly fairly new to Town Hall 8 with these relatively low walls out here, 4s and 5s. I would definitely say it's important for you to redesign this base. It looks like you have this set up or just modified your Town Hall 7 base to make this, and it would really help out if you redesign this for Town Hall 8. So what I would focus on is some of the common elements you've seen in other bases, especially in this video, as well as out there in general, which is have lots of little compartments, which makes it harder for you to attack, or to be attacked, as well as just if you do have bigger compartments, just like split them up a bit, so you don't have more than like 3 or 4 buildings at once. This compartment has like 8 in it. This is 2, this is 3, this one has another big one that's 9 buildings in it. Generally, just like keeping those smaller makes it just much, much better to defend. It keeps your defenses close together, and definitely helps. Clan Castle, just like the last base, recommend this goes in the center, recommend no giants. I won't talk about those again, because I said that before. Yeah, let's talk about swapping around defenses to improve their position. Well, I would like to see a wizard tower that covers both of these storages. I'd also like to see these storages, actually the storage as well, so these 3 storages should be covered by wizard towers. That's to stop goblins that start attacking them. I would also like to see those storages more centralized. Generally, it's hard to tell how much is in here, but if you have any significant amount in here, so yeah, that's sort of getting up there. It's medium. It's not a ton, but it's medium for sure. You don't want people to be able to steal this easily, and currently it's fairly stealable. The thing that's interesting is you are fairly high in the trophy count, so I think you're a very active player who's attacking a lot to maintain their trophies, but if you work in your defense, basically it makes keeping your trophy count up that much easier, so I would definitely recommend doing that. In terms of upgrades, you're working on your last mortar, which is good. Wizards are level 4, 3, and 3, so work on those next. But pretty good, pretty good. After that, you do have the 9s, cannons, and not quite 9 for the archer towers. Yeah, I'd focus on the wizards and do like an occasional archer tower or cannon when you've got the free worker. You do have a free worker right now, so maybe you can start one soon. who knows? We'll see. In terms of your army composition, looks like you've got a lot of archers. Yeah, let's talk about army composition for a minute here before I wrap this up. Army composition, once you start getting up into 1600 trophies and above, the problem is your level 5 archers here are just going to get one hit by mortars. Yeah, that's a problem. That means your guys are going to just be attacking random stuff and just die. Mixing in a couple barbarians and a couple giants, or just one or the other, is really great to help distract those mortars as one. Barbarians also do more damage, so if you're just taking out buildings that are outside the walls, you can use barbarians to help out with that. Archers are definitely great for the core of your army, but I would definitely recommend playing around with other things. And you'll find once you start playing around with giants and barbarians and goblins perhaps to help you deal with those certain buildings that they're good at killing, you'll find that maybe you'll want to mix in some wall breakers to help out with that, or maybe a minion. You only need a few minions if you want to deal with like picking off free buildings and getting free damage somewhere. For example, right now if I was attacking your base, and say I just wanted to get some free damage, I would put a minion down right here, a minion down right here, and a minion down right here. Those 3 minions, just 3, that's 6 supply with the minions, would be able to take out this. I wouldn't put it right here, actually. I'd put it right here with this air defense. I'd put it right here. They'd be able to take out this building, and the one down here critically would be able to take out these 3, and perhaps this one. Yeah, I think it'd be able to take out the drill as well. Basically, 3 minions take out 6, 7 buildings right there, which is, yeah, that's a lot of free damage. So that's why I include minions. So just thinking about army compositions like that, what works well together? Can I just do 1 or 2 of these units to help out in this specific situation that comes up fairly frequently? That sort of critical thinking and just testing and modification can really help you out. Perhaps you do try other armies all the time and you just happen to have maxed out archers right now. I don't know. Perhaps that's the case. But I would just recommend generally having a more diverse army because it just lets you be more flexible and attack even a wider range of bases. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Town Hall 8 subscriber base review video. So, if you want to be in a future subscriber base review, this is what you should do. You should go follow me on Facebook and Twitter, or that is, like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Links for those are in the description. And once you do that, I post a status on Facebook, and will be linked on those other ones. And I post them generally on the weekends, and I do a weekly subscriber base review, and I switch Town Hall levels every single week. For example, this week, I wasn't sure if I was going to do Town Hall 7s or Town Hall 8s, so I put up a poll. It ended up being like 140 votes for Town Hall 8 and 128 votes for Town Hall 7, so it was pretty close. So I'll probably end up doing Town Hall 7 next week. But, like I said, I just alternate between all the popular ones, so I'll be doing Town Hall 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 all in the near future. Perhaps I'll do a couple lower ones, but generally there aren't too many of my fans which are down there, because those are pretty fast to get through. But you know what? Maybe sometime in the future. Anyways, that's how you should, what you should do if you want to be in a future subscriber-based review video. Beyond that, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you did enjoy this. Sorry for the lack of missing videos on Sunday and last Friday. I've just been busy with finals, and also just haven't been playing Clash of Clans that much in general. I mean, obviously related to finals is other stuff. I'll try to do better in the future, but yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. That's going to be it. Have a great day, and Clash on.